investors. I mean, they're out there. They're not that difficult to find. It's not that difficult if you sort of have a bit of a strategy to find yourself at an event where those sorts of people are going to be, or stick yourself into a program where you're going to be suddenly mixing with these guys. And we, you know, we will do. This session is more about just talking about the mechanics of it, getting people in the room to talk about their experiences a bit more freely. We are going to do another one of these sessions where we will have angels here who will talk about it from their perspective. So if you come along to that, you will get exposure to those people.
I mean, all I'd say, just not necessarily to qualify that, but I wouldn't want to panic anyone to think just because you sort of tell Mike Butcher and he writes it on TechCrunch that, you know, we've started this new business and we're looking for investment. That is not going out and raising investment. But there is a sort of, you know, who are you handing out the prospectus to and all that. It's so don't panic in the sense that you can't sort of tell anyone that you're raising investment, but you've got to be very careful about the sorts of people that you are actually properly promoting your business to.
I think basically you have to use your common sense, right? Yeah. Sticking on a website is bad. There is a carve-out. If you're talking to financially sort of savvy people, they can sign a waiver which basically says that's fine. Okay. So I said there were two ways it worked. One, you have to be a PLC making a public offer. If you went down that path, you'd have to write a prospectus. They are extremely expensive, which is why nobody does it. So they all look for an exemption from that regulation. The other bit that you've got to bear in mind is the FSA regulator. So if the rule is that if you send out a piece of paper saying, I'm looking for shares, that is what they call a financial promotion, which equates to an advertisement. You can't do that. You can't issue an advertisement for an investment in shares in a company unless it's been authorised by someone who's an approved person, which means they're regulated by the FSA. And to do that, they've got to go check a whole load of boxes. You're not going to do that either. So it means that whoever you send this thing to has to be an exempt person. And that basically, if you're an angel, you're basically going to be that sort of person that's going to be able to sign that sort of waiver. But, you know, think about what the FSA is all about. It's all about protecting the retail consumer and trying to instill market confidence. I mean, they've been pretty lamentable at doing both of those, it appears to me, over the last several years. But that is what their objective is. So what they don't want, this is all geared to preventing people from getting, you know, moms and pops to invest in high-risk investments and bet their life savings on something which has probably got a 10% chance at best of success. Yeah. But there are ways out of it. You just have to choose the person that you're targeting to. So,
oh, we've got another question. You got an insightful comment, I heard.
No, sadly not.
Oh,
go on, Glenn. Yeah.
Returning to a conversation someone said earlier about the amount of money raised.
Yeah.
From conversations I've had, people have less been talking about the amount of money, more the percentage you have to give away. That almost the percentage is more consistent than the amount of money you're asking for. That somewhere around the 20–30% is what a single angel or a group of angels will be looking for when wanting to take a stake in your company. So you can say you ask for 10 grand, but they're not going to want to take 2% or 5% or 10% or 70%. It's always around the 20–30% mark.
I don't think that's true.
And so I was about to say, I'd like to know what everyone else who got angel investment had to give away for that angel investment as a percentage term, not the actual cash they raised.
So mine was, I gave away 15%, 7.5% each for 2 sets of angel investors.
Okay.
And I didn't want to give away any more, that was a deal. There was just no way I was going to give away more than that. When it comes to other rounds of investment as well, you end up, you know.
It's not that different from like 2030 though. Has anyone had to give away like 80% or only 2% or some like dramatically different? Do you know what I mean?
I still remember that's somewhere in there. They told me how much they raised to invest. I told them how much we value.
That's pretty handy.
Right, and that's kind of how we did it. I said, for that money you will get this much.
And they accepted that as okay.
When did you do yours?
You're very convincing.
Between September and December.
Was he called Alistair Darwin?
that was yesterday.
I've got £1,000. You will accept this prize.
Well, how about you guys? Do you agree with Glenn on the 20–30%?
Yeah, ours was a bit less. Ours was more like the example earlier, was 17.5%.
around 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not too
Yeah.
far off. Yeah.
I did around in 2001 where I got away giving away 5%.
Well, those were crazy days, weren't they?
2001's pretty good.
Yeah.
It all tanked by then.
Yeah, I just finished SMM.com in 2000. I set up another one June 2001. People were still looking.
I mean, I think again, trying to extract something from all of this, it's pretty. It seems to me one thing that we like to say: there are no hard and fast rules. I mean, you can look at median positions and what maybe the average is, but I mean, really, it's all about your negotiating position and, frankly, what the price of money is for your business. So, you know, in order to know that, you've got to know whether there's. If you've got multiple offers on the table, it's really easy, isn't it? Because you can say, okay, well, they're offering A, they're offering B, they're offering C. No one else is in the room. So the value of your business is what each of those offers stands at, and you're either prepared to accept it or you're not. So, and if you've got one offer and you take the Lucian approach and they buy it, then that's the price of your company. So, but I mean, there's a load of negotiation in there that needs to be done, and there are no hard and fast rules. So, I mean, the answer should be as little as possible, shouldn't it? And that's where you start from.
I'd like to point out that 5% is still not worth what I paid for it.
Is it quite for them to collude? Because I know VCs talk to each other and stuff, so it's difficult to play them off.
There's certainly this consortium effect where they'll all come in together, and when you get a consortium, they'll come in at the same price. So I don't think you'd call it collusion. They're just simply that's the base on which you get your investment, and everyone understands that. I don't know whether they. I think if they were going to collude, they would just get in a consortium.
Yeah.
This is my take on it. I don't know if anyone else got.
Well, all I would say on the collusion front is, having seen VCs in a room talking to each other about, what they're investing in, their interest is not in telling each other what it is they're investing in. I mean, whenever we've seen them sort of bicker and basically try and lead each other up the garden path because they don't want their competitors to know what it is that they're interested in and for how much. But I mean, it's sort of the market at the end of the day, isn't it? That's what you're really talking about. So to the extent, at the moment, there is a general sentiment in the market about the fact that valuations have dropped a bit because the economy's gone off the boil, and there's less. There's the money is still there, but they are able to ratchet up the amount of equity that they take on a VC deal.
But I know there's some other questions. I just wanted to move the topic on a little bit, and we can involve our panel again. And anyone else wants to be on the panel, you should state your claim. I want to talk about the sort of issue of control. I think it's a big issue for a lot of people when they've founded a company, it's their baby, they've had they've been able to do with it what they like up until that point, and suddenly in comes an angel and he says, here are 24 things that you can't do without my permission. And what I'm interested in is sort of hearing not just sort of the stuff they demanded, and there's often a lot of threshold, financially you can't spend more than this without my sign-off. But actually, how does it work in practice when you're in the boardroom later on? Gosh, we're missing the apprentice tonight, talking about the boardroom. Anyway, so how does it work in the real boardroom, not the boardroom with Alan Sugar, but how does it work in the real boardroom when you've got your investment agreement and you're dealing with those restrictions and so on? Rachel, do you want to give us your thoughts on that?
Yeah. We did have to set out sort of various thresholds in terms of whether we can replace directors, add new directors, transfer shares, sell shares, and various other sort of operational activities. And we sort of set a percentage level, really, that there has to be over a certain amount of votes before we can do certain things, and that basically amounted to the co-founders as well as one of the angels.
Did you give the angel a veto over things?
No.
Okay.